Hail, hail, welcome to the Homeboys Leg Podcast. It is Thursday, the 4th of September. I'm, of course, Joe McKenna. We are back and we are pissed off. This is going to be one of those swift fucking kicking the balls for everybody standing within a radius of us. Joined by, dude, where's my striker? Marty Flynn.
What's happening, bro?
All good, man. All good. Well, as good as can be. And also joined by and also joined by Scott McCory.
Fuck that. Aye. All right.
That's the name of the show. Fuck that. No. Say shame on you is the name of this episode. And joined by Longers himself, the Liam Power.
Fuck Celtic.
Start to sound like J-Bo now. See ya.
That's it.
Can you imagine if J-Bo wasn't on holiday at the minute and all this is happening? How much absolute incandescent rage there'd be fucking to deal with?
Volcanic.
Oh, fuck me. Be peace.
No,
I
think Jason might be on the other side here.
Resigned himself to it?
No, now the way J-Bo gets him, like too many people are against something that he kind of goes the other way.
Yes, he is. You're right. He is the eternal contrarian.
Yeah. I think Jason's at the fuck all you, Celtic are the best. We're going to win a league.
He could well be right.
Could be right.
Well, there's a high probability of that. So we haven't really got an agenda because everything starts at Abrax, I suppose, this week, and then gets gradually shitter. So let's go back. We checked out the length of the highlights from the Abrax game on YouTube, but about 2 minutes, which for highlights of a game of that magnitude, that big, it's pretty fucking grim. But it was maybe the worst game of football. Actually, you know what? The only other game of football I think was as bad as that I've seen in a long time was when we played up at Kilmarnock and the game was fucking dire, but Rajic pulled that fucking screamer out of the bag at the very, very end. Right? That was one of the worst games of football I've ever watched.
I love the fact that you fucking totally thrown Kairat out your fucking mind, or the cup final out your mind. My God.
Fuck. Do you know what? I've actually forgotten about that. That's gone. Let's go back to that. Fucking. Do you know what? Everything starts at Kairat, then it goes to fucking Abrax, and then fuck. Do you know what? Let's start back at Kairat. I mean, both equally shitty games of football.
I think that's seen in the fast. You know, the wee man's just painting and he just goes black, and just starts painting black all over his fucking watercolor. Black.
I mean, like, what's there to say about the Kairat game other than there was times in that game the ball was just fucking pinging from fucking head to head. It was fucking grim. It was shit. Have we done Kairat?
Yeah.
Brian was on last week.
Do you know what? My fucking head's away.
Morning, Joe.
You threw me off though. You mentioned Kairat. I said, we haven't covered that.
You said the worst game. That's the worst game I've seen since we beat Kilmarnock 1-0. And I said, you forgot about Kairat, which was fucking 4 days earlier.
I know.
Fucking hell, man. What's happening?
You threw me off there. You got in the way of my flow and you fucked it all up. And I double back.
Again, this is always at a time like this. I'm always so glad we don't charge for a Patreon.
Can you imagine that? Imagine the heat we'd get.
Okay, wrap this up to fuck already. Come on.
Hey, anyway, there you go. There's the Joe Pa out of the way. Anyway, that's the start of the show.
Joe Pa, brilliant.
Anyway, as I was fucking saying before you interrupted me and fucked me up there, Scott, that's all your fault. You were going to say something there.
No, well, some guy on the Huddlebob was moaning about me interrupting you, so I will be watching myself tonight.
See, and you see where it leads? Where it leads is me looking foolish. And I can't have that anymore. Trying to paint the brand new image here.
I can do that myself.
So, I mean, I don't even fucking know. Did any of you, nobody went to Abrax, did they? You went to Abrax, did you?
Aye. I went to Ibrox. The thing is, I can't even tell you if it was that bad or really that bad because I'm not going to watch anything again for it. Do you know what I mean? It was funny. I was laughing the other day. Me and her were watching something and some Celtic and the Dyson goal for Dortmund come on. And I was like, God, that's the first time I've seen that goal. Do you know what I mean? Because no interest in ever watching it back. And that'll be the same for that game the other day. I'm no interest in saying that was offside or no. There's no point really going deep dive into it because it's just more of the same. It really was more of the same. With rotating players. Before I wanted to say to you before we started this, Joe, that I would like to break up your discussions this evening into separate chapters almost, right? And you would have the board and their failings, and then obviously the repercussions, and then I would like to talk about Brendan Rodgers and his failings, and then like a totally separate thing where we go for it. But you know yourself, it's hard to kind of separate everything because you all go into each other. Because at the end of the game, I saw Smiddy, of all people, Smiddy who loves him on. I saw Smiddy on the huddle board saying the atmosphere at away games, and I thought Ibrox was terrible, right? And I freely admit my hands are up. I am now a joiner in rather than a starter of things. So I suppose I'm culpable as anybody, but we're all culpable then. The atmosphere at Ibrox for a game that big, for a game that could have very Dame, it's just poor, do you know what I mean? It wasn't, I can't even remember. I was up the back, so I never had like the benefit of the singing bits, not, but it just seemed everything. The new just seems pure down, everything. Like I say, you get into Ibrox and they were terrified of the game, which obviously puts me in fucking right myself as usual. But as I say, I don't even feel the need to overanalyze because it was just the same, just with different players. Some people get credit, some people don't want to give them credit. I don't know. I wish I could give you some more, lads.
See the game on Sunday. See if you took the two names out of the picture, right, and you just looked at how bad the blue team were so far this season, and then you hear the blue team have left their best player out the squad completely, and then you look at the quality in the green team, even though they're a bit short of numbers. I mean, it should have been a fucking walkover of a game, and then at the blue team conceding 20 shots on average a game or something this season. I don't know, something like that, figures like that. We didn't even get a shot on or off target in the first half. It's like levels of appalling. I don't even know how to describe it. And yeah, and we'll do them separately, Scott, like you said. But I mean, the board need to be burnt alive on a stake, man. But fucking Rodgers is fucking hopeless just now. Absolutely hopeless.
It's hard to separate them. George Clark's in the comment there, I'll put it up. He said, surely mentioned the build-up with the Ida situation. And the same thing goes for Yang. But then I wanted to compartmentalize. Put it in
Compartmentalize.
Put it in a box. Compartmentalize the kind of decisions. I mean,
well, just before you do that, Scott, for the game, and I think we should do that. I was just writing myself a little story before we come on earlier, right? Just to wrap up on the Kairat game, whatever that team was called, because I wasn't on last week, right? So we finished last summer with £77 million in the bank. We sold Nicholas Kuhn in July for £18 million, giving us £95 million. The draw was made on the 4th of August, and we were drawn against either the 158th ranked team or the 311th ranked team in the competition. And then 311th was confirmed on the 12th of August, a full week ahead of the squad deadline for submitting new players. If you're a business, last year Celtic made £38 million out of 124 million record revenue last year. 30% of your revenue was from the Champions League, and that doesn't include match day revenue. And you've got 3 hours to play against one of the worst teams in the competition. What are you doing as a senior board exec, whatever you want to call them, to allow your company to get that sort of money?
Are you looking for answers here or this?
I mean, like the logical brain says you fucking reinvest and you shape up to the point where you can once again get your hands on that dough and keep the fucking ball rolling.
It's incredible.
You prepare, you get ready, you go, right, we're going to give us a good fist. This is working out well. It worked out well last year, but it seems there's a ceiling to any kind of semblance of progress or ambition at Celtic. I think it gets to a certain point. The bubbling point, the money's good, it's all good. And then it's like, right, well, let's just either stay here, hover around here, or if it dips, it's not a massive problem. We've already made the money. It's almost like they don't really give that much of a shit about getting into the Champions League.
But
and that
Joe,
baffles me.
even the ambition bit, right, Marty? You've had your own business before, right? In cafe or whatever you ran before. Like it's like, imagine if your cafe was in a seaside resort, right? And there was a holiday weekend every year where the place was absolutely full to the rafters, and you decided to go on holiday that weekend every year rather than open the place. I mean, it's just like fucking. You got an opportunity to make all that money in that short space of time. It's fucking criminal, man. Honestly, it's.
The question overall, though, is Liam, like, what? I know the actual fucking like the practice of what's going on is baffling, right? But what then kind of comes through into your mind is, well, where's the accountability? I mean, and there never seems to be any kind of accountability. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do heads have to know? I don't fucking know. I don't make that call. But there should be somebody somewhere pointing fingers, going like, "How the fuck did we get to this point?"
And Rodgers was spot on what he said the other week. There, he's like, when the singing's sat the board, there's only one person that ends up leading in that situation. It's not going to be Nicholson. It's not going to be anybody on that exec board. And the only question now is Rodgers going to be here until the end of the season to leave or go before? I would happily have seen him out the door last week, done and dusted, because he'll just drag the whole fucking thing down. But anyway, we'll come back to that later on.
I think we talk about. I think we try and split up the Rodgers board thing, because there is definitely there's a lot of mitigation towards Rodgers' struggles, and there's a lot of things that he's badly getting wrong, and I do think they overlap, but it's we Marty's struggling with this one tonight. I'll see if I can send him a different link or something. No, board wise, you know, lads, I think we're just going to get a sore head if we try and work it out in our heads, because every reason doesn't work. So, is there no trust in him as coach because he's shown no desire to hang about? And are we willingly sabotaging moves? I can't believe we are. I can't believe we're willingly sabotaging. Or are we at a stage where, as I've suggested for a while, that the board and the owner, they know what they're doing. They won't be told by anybody, not include us or anybody. They won't be told by anybody how to do it better, because, I mean, even Gordon Dalziel's own open goal saying the amount of money they brought in, and Charlie McGrew, now a paid employee, he's telling us, oh, they've brought in, this is how they do it. But as you rightly said, why would they hurt themselves getting into the Champions League? This Marty. So you kind of get, but you also then get to the point that we've been stale since February, if not before, and we knew we needed something just to get it all the line. And to kind of overlap, I think giving Rodgers a wee bit more than we gave him. Like, gave him 2 players that kind of fitted into his system for the Kyrat game.
Yep.
Could have took us all the line.
Yeah.
And then that kind of, I know it papers over the crack, but it papers over the crack with a big load of folding money.
Yeah.
And you're no getting the bite back that we have already. We'll only be strong.
Yeah.
It's nothing makes sense. I can't work it out. And when you try to work it out, and all you want's somebody to put something on it, and you're no getting. That's where the frustration comes from. But then there's a point that comes after that. Do we actually want to lose the league? And I dare say there will be a load of more militant people than me who go, yeah, because it will show them. But anytime we've lost the league, we've went ball deep the next year. And then all the moans and groans all disappear, and we start on the same fucking roundabout as we've been on for ages. Everybody will get wallop into Celtic Trust and who or whatever this new thing is. But then see in 4 weeks, if we've won all our games and the Huns have lost 2 men out the cups, everybody it'll all kind of disappear again. And we'll all be back in line. And like I say, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I've not cancelled any home cup ticket scheme, but I think I should. But I know it'll hurt me more than it'll hurt them to a point. I don't know. So, like I say, my he's fried with it. I kind of hope the night helps me a bit, but I've got my doubts.
I think you're right as well, Scott. What you said. I think there is an element of they're looking at him buying, spending 20 million last season, but those players not being fixed on regulars, which I don't think you can do that, right? Because we were arguably a minute and a penalty away from having our best season last season since fuck knows, man. I don't know, since '67 maybe, even when you think a treble, and then last 16 the Champions League. What season would beat that? And it was minutes away from getting into extra time where anything could happen, and a penalty away or a couple of penalties from beating Aberdeen. So you can't. I don't think they can hold that against him. You could argue that those players been on the bench pushed on the players in the first team in the way that you want them to, and it made the team stronger. But I do think they hold that against him a bit, and the fact that they know he's not likely to be around after that point in time. But you can't live on that basis, can you? You can't operate on that basis. You either back the manager or you buy players strategically that fit into the club, whoever's the manager, or you move him on. You bump him on for somebody else. But then that would suggest maybe they're recommending players to him that he's saying no, which would give you the view that he gets the final say in the transfers. But then that can't be true if we've signed players, the Japanese boys that he seems to have no interest in at all. That can't be the case. Then if he's getting the final say.
Let's see what Joe and Marty have got to see before my thoughts on that.
Well, from my perspective, look, as I say, I'm not really interested in the match last week or the match on Sunday. Shut up.
Let me frank.
I'll still be Garth. Right? So it's like, where are we going as a club? What are the trends? I said it last week when Bram was on with us, you know what I mean? It's like something's not right, hasn't been right for ages. So what is it and how do you fix it? And like the lack of communication from the club is fucking staggering. It's absolutely staggering. And you might say, well, does Wolverhampton Wanderers fucking constantly communicate with their fans? Does Bolton Wanderers do it? Does fucking, I don't know, whoever, pick any like ordinary like team anywhere? And my argument always is, but we're a club like no other. We keep being told we're this great fucking thing in football. There's nothing like us. Well, why would we behave like all those other clubs? Do you know what I mean? There's very few clubs in world football are blessed with our fan base. Simple as that. And therefore, we deserve better than those run-of-the-mill clubs and whatever else. Tracking back, the reappointment of Peter Lawwell was a fucking disaster. And I think Michael Nicholson could have survived if Lawwell hadn't came back. But the optics of Lawwell coming back was atrocious. Like, absolutely atrocious. Loads of people had access to grind with Peter Lawwell for loads of reasons. It's like, obviously, going back to the old maxim that familiarity breeds contempt. Now, I have no doubt that Peter Lawwell is a talented man. Like, he is. Do you know what I mean? He shepherded the club through a time that was fucking genuinely mental. Like, none of us ever thought we would have seen the Huns going bust, all that sort of stuff. TV deals getting pulled out, all the administration of football. I completely get that, but his time had fucking gone, and everyone was glad to see the back of him. Like, nobody was complaining. Nobody was complaining when Peter Lawwell left, and as soon as he came back, every cunt's haunches were up. Now, I don't know what happened with Don Mackay. I have no idea. No one has ever sat me down and said, here's what happened with this guy. You know, people have told me that he fucked up transfer deals and stuff, and I'm looking, going, well, the guy you've told me he fucked up a transfer deal for was sold him for money or whatever. So I find that hard to believe. And anyway, it was his first time working in football. So you can't expect him to get everything right within the first 40 fucking days of his job. Do you know what I mean? And it just so happened that the absolutely perfect candidate for the fucking to replace him was sitting 3 offices away on the same floor.
Ta-da!
Come, like, come on, come on, the fuck. Like, and people have said to me, Michael Nicholson has been involved in every single club transfer since whatever 2012, 2010, whenever he fucking joined. It's cool. That's fucking cool. I have no argument with him being involved in transfers. Nothing in that man's CV tells me that he is the person to drive a global brand like Celtic Football Club. Nothing. Marketing, exposure, all that. Nothing. This is the guy who writes contracts and signs deals. A fucking flunky. You know what I mean?
Doesn't
So,
answer phones. Apparently, doesn't answer phones.
well, do you know what I mean? It's much more than the Huns match. Do you know what I mean? It's much more than, like,
Well,
what the fuck is the vision for this club? Do you know what I mean? And I said it last week. I went on a rant last week. I'm kind of sorry I did. I apologise if I annoyed anybody by ranting the way I did, but I just
oh,
unloaded.
there you go.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just, all of us are frustrated. We all love Celtic. And I have no doubt that Michael Nicholson loves Celtic and Peter Lawwell loves Celtic and whatever. I'm not arguing that, right? Not, I don't get paid what you get paid to like Celtic. Do you know what I mean? So, but I'll take you at your fucking bona fides. But it's just, there's something wrong, and there has to be a change of leadership. We've got one woman on the board, and she's only just come on over this last couple of years. God bless her. The rest are just old men. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, there needs to be a revamp, there needs to be a revision, there needs to be a repurposing of Celtic Football Club for the next 50 years. I said it on here a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. The people who are making decisions now about our club's future will actually be dead soon. Within the next 10 or 15 years, they will be dead. So we need people in their 30s and 40s and 50s who are going to be here for a long time, making decisions now that are going to benefit us, that they can see through. And as I said, I mentioned that last week, there was some sort of 5-year plan was being developed for the club. We're 5 years into it. What the fuck happened to it? And I also said last week, which I'm reiterating, last year was a blip. The European performance last year was a fucking blip. Now, going to Brendan Rodgers, 2 things. One, Brendan Rodgers said 2 months ago, or whenever, 6 weeks ago, I'm not a man to manage your club if you just want to stay still. That's not what I'm for. Cool. Understand that. No problem. Then he comes out and says, but there's no issues with the board. They're doing everything I want. Everyone in this club's pulling together, and we all want the same things. Those 2 things can't really fucking coalesce together. Either you're happy with your lot and what you've been given, and if it means standing still, fair enough, or something's wrong. What is wrong is not for me to say. I have no inside knowledge of Celtic whatsoever. I'm like everyone else, watching with my chin on the fucking ground, going, what the fuck? Now, watching how some of those players played last week in both of those games, our youth team could have done better. Our youth team could have done better. So big players should have just been taken out of the fucking side, man. Listen, here's what's happening here. Sit down. Give somebody who wants to have a go a fucking go and see how they get on. And it's really the only thing I can see. If there's no new players being brought in, there's clearly players in that squad that don't want to be there. We actually know there's players in that squad who don't want to be there, like Yang and people who were going to leave. I'll speak about Adam later because I'm talking about the broad brushstrokes here first. But them's my views on where we are at the minute.
I've covered nearly everything there, Marty. I mean, the Don Mackay thing, you made a good point there. We don't know what happened, right? But from the outside, the optics looked, to me anyway, it looked like he came in with a kind of fresh approach. He did things like he brought the Keno a bit closer and give them the tickets after they'd been kind of, frankly, I suppose, robbed during the COVID kind of period because they were paying for tickets that nobody was using. And next thing you know, he was skidding on his arse across the car park. You know what I mean? Down towards the taxi rank. And it just looked from the outside like, oh, this guy's not a fit for whatever level of old guard is has a stranglehold on what's happening at this club. And you imagine like the kind of young blood coming through, 30 and 30-year-olds or stuff coming through, trying to take over from these people who are these dinosaurs who are going to be, gone soon. My fear in that sort of thing is that like those people that maybe at that kind of lower level, younger people sort of under the tutelage of these dinosaurs are then going to be, like, they're there because they're yes men, probably. They're there because they're agreeable. They're there because they'll, do what they're told, play the game. And when people like that then get elevated into a leadership role, they tend not to have leadership qualities. What they tend to have at that point is, inflated egos based on the ladder they've climbed in a corporate structure. And like, you said about Nicholson, it appears that he really only has that job because he's closest to the sun at the end of the day. He's closest to the actual center of the power, which would be Dermot Desmond. And then secondary, it would seem Peter Law, given the way the fact that like, the club hasn't changed. And it's kind of reverted back to what it was when he was there in terms of like, it's cautious and sort of non-committal to actual tangible progress sort of approach. And it makes you worry that, like, what's coming down the lane is just going to be a weaker and more diluted version of the sort of incompetence that we're seeing now. But because they're clearly completely convinced, and they're right, that nobody's going to boycott. People are still going to buy tickets. I mean, I doubt we'll ever go back to the Daily crowd era, but we may, depending on how bad things get. But what worries you the most is that they don't seem to really give a shit. Because at the end of the day, profit's still there, money's still there, money's still made, bonuses are still there. Doesn't matter. And that's the disconnect between what we think we're involved in as Celtic supporters and what they consider us to be involved in.
But Joe, they don't have the personalities to deal with the support. None of them. Even when everything's good, even when we're winning everything in sight, there's no interaction, there's no development, there's no strategy, there's no innovation. There's fuck all from them.
I know, but even if they approach that, Liam, and they did that, I suppose, with John Paul Taylor in the Celtic liaison role, it's that classic hierarchical fucking approach of like, here, just hire a guy to deal with it, yeah? I don't want to have to go to that level. And that's the way it always looks to me. Even in I don't know if it works in the same in your role, your jobs, lads, but there's a hierarchy structure. There comes a certain point where people at a management level or a high level have just decided, I'm not dealing with that kind of shit. I'm not dealing front of face, facing people, dealing with questions. That's hard a guy to do that shit. And
Joe, it's really different. It's really different today. Like, I work with a lot of really high senior people, and they're the complete opposite these days. Do you know what I mean? When I started work, it was those people would work on the top floor of the office you're in, and you wouldn't be able to get onto the floor where they worked. And now the most senior guy that you probably even know in your organisation would sit next to you, would sit in a desk next to you, would, you know, you'd be around them all the time. There'd be no hierarchy, visible hierarchy there, other than, you know, that structure there. And that's what most modern big businesses are like, and that's how they operate. This is so old school. It's fucking it's ridiculous, man.
But nobody seems to be able to, fucking anticipate damage. Nobody seems to be able to anticipate problems with the fucking the approach, the behavior, and the incompetence. Like, I mean, you know, and I know, like, we've all kind of pretty been involved and run projects over the years. You're looking down the lane at fucking potential issues from the get go. From step one, you're looking down the lane, going, where are the challenges, where are the obstacles, where's the point of no return if this goes fucking sideways? I mean, and you kind of stage it out. I don't get the feeling these people do any of this.
Well, that's what my point earlier about the money, the finances, and the opportunity. I mean, you know, we talk about them being accountants and being counters essentially, but so you think their eye would be on the ball all the time in terms of money, you know, risk probability against the reward and the outcome that's here. You know, it's only a small dice you need to throw to have had a really strong chance of getting through that tie, given who you were facing. As Scott said earlier, buy two, you know, reasonably good players, 5 million each. You know, speculate 10 million to get 40 million back in the door. You've already sold for 18 million in that window anyway. You know, go and get a striker in worthy of the name, and go and get a wide player in worthy of the name. Stick them up top with Maid, and then you've got a team good enough to get through that tie most times with their eyes shut.
Yeah, you could be sitting there playing with house money right now if you were fucking brave enough.
You know, and even if it went tits up, you spent 10, you bought 18 in. You know, I mean, you're still going to be playing on a level playing field, really.
Ultimately, the point is we've got a boat. We're not far off what we've said for the past. Every time something's went wrong, we're sitting with an overlord who, rightly or wrongly, has got so much power, and we've got a board who think they know better than everybody else. And due to the amount of money that we've got in the now and our own loyalty, they're not right. And this is what makes the next step kind of important, because every one of them, apart from maybe the woman Marty's talking about, have been doing this road. They've seen the anger, they've seen the moans. Do you know what I mean? They've went through everything that's happening now. They went through already, and they'll go, we know today. Don't worry about it. It's like there's a way in greeting in the train, and you're like, what to help that way? And I don't worry about it. Does that? It'll stop in a minute. You know what I mean? And we're at that. That's where we are. Everything you're saying, everything you guys are saying makes 100% sense. But it's.
But I mean, at the point now as well, Scott, where they're going out in the transfer market, and they're fucking embarrassing themselves. And teams are at this point, I'd say clubs that Celtic approach are going like, here, where do you see this one? Join this meeting. What do you see what these cunts are going to offer? This is a good laugh. I mean, it's fucking like we've talked previously about, you know, how the markets we're able to shop in will fluctuate, because that's how fucking finance of football works, and finance of sport works. Kind of gets higher, right? It feels like when we go to buy players, we're almost like a guy going on holiday to Spain, thinking that the prices are still in 1986, and you can get a.
Sometimes we don't need to make big, massive profits. What frustrates me about Celtic, we spoke about it recently, was we'll make 1 or 2 profits on 2 guys, whereas the rest of the guys we'll sell will be massive failures. So there'll be a wastage somewhere. So instead of getting a smaller profit on more players, you know what I mean? And then the youth thing, that's a whole different. But I don't know. The Don Mackay thing get brushed under because hands turned out cracking. Didn't it? Really?
Yeah,
That's how Don Mackay was. So I get
Was Ange in the door when he was booted?
Yeah, sure. I think he get booted after the transfer window shut. He get booted like the 18th of September or something. So it's I don't know. It just, like I said, we were all happy enough to move on because Ange was there and Ange needed our backing, and it wasn't going great starting. So he was kind of getting the big question marks. But in the cold light of day, to take a big step back and go, what happened with Don Mackay? We never get any answer. We get told it was personal. It was personal problems, and he left. And then we go, as Marty always says, we got another company guy in, and we got an accountant in, and I dare say the shareholders are delighted by his performance. But I mean, it was always coming to this. This is every year. You know what I mean?
But it's not even stability. I can understand if stability was the goal here, but it doesn't appear it's even that.
No, I know, mate. I know. I don't know. I just, like I say, I just thought that was interesting when Marty was talking about Dom Mackay. So,
now, Furnace, where did he end up going? Because obviously, I don't follow the guy's career. Where did he end up then?
I remember he got a quite high profile because he came for the rugby, didn't he?
Aye.
Yeah. How dare we do go? Well, he's interim chairman of European Professional Club Rugby. So he went back to rugby anyway, which is fair dues. I don't know. I don't see what else we can really talk about the board because we've been saying the same things.
Well, there is,
and now we're just kind of regurgitating.
Is there not some kind of front-facing event or meeting going to happen at some point?
So the rumours go that 3 of the major groups of Celtic supporters clubs are having a meeting with Michael Nicholson tomorrow, when a vast majority of Celtic supporter clubs, not under these banners or maybe under these banners, have put questions to him this week. I mean, do you want to talk about that, do you know what I mean?
It's relevant, I suppose, like the topic we're
on. I mean, because I know we had a vote. I'm trying to think. Cubby was still alive. I'm trying to think. The Vogue Supporters Club had a vote years ago to come out of the affiliation because we didn't see it. We saw it as a self-serving group. I'm trying to think who was the one Rafferty ran. Who was he, Marty? Do you remember? Nope. Anybody? Pierre Rafferty. So he was the affiliation. Yeah. So it was Pierre Rafferty. It was affiliation. So Pierre Rafferty, just Pierre Rafferty, and it's never nice to talk ill of the dead, but I remember Pierre Rafferty when I was younger. Pierre Rafferty had this high-profile position. He was seen to. He had tickets for every game and stuff like this. This had been going on for years and years. He never ever took up for the supporters. If anything bad happened, he would often demonise his own support, and that's how we all kind of screw this guy. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he's passed away now, and he's getting no right to reply, which no nice, but it's basically so we came out to it because of that reason. And I don't think we've ever suffered by not being part of that association. And so you've got the Irish Association, you've got the affiliation of Celtic supporters clubs, and you've got what's the other one, Liam?
CSA, what would it be now?
No, the CSA. So by all accounts, they've all got a meeting with Nicholson, and their prerequisite is to go and look after their own clubs, which could cause concern. Could it?
Yeah.
if we be honest, it's a shame. It's a shame Marty keeps falling in and out here because he's obviously a wee bit more clued up with the Irish side of it. Joe, I don't think you're affiliated with any clubs there.
No, but once again, the optics of this, you know,
it certainly seems like what's that? Divide and conquer.
aye, it's kind of like, well, if they haven't got a united front, what can they really do? I mean,
I don't see what they're trying to achieve by doing this way. I mean, what is it going to achieve?
it may tick a box.
What we spoke to a select section of the support.
Exactly.
There you go.
Are these the official talking heads for the Celtic support? I think that's maybe where we're at. And Celtic are like, no, I'll talk to them, but I'm not talking to any. I mean that's probably Celtic stand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do these groups come out and speak when the kind of the Green Brigade have been kettled in, and when there's been issues with fans at away games and stuff?
I say no. Maybe I'm just so far fucking removed from that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It's worthwhile looking into, but
it's just is it Celtic playing politic? Probably.
I mean, you look at the statements that have come out, right? So I mean, obviously the groups have put a statement out. I think the affiliation have put their own statement out. And they're all pretty good statements. But I mean, what is anyone going to ask Nicholson directly? What tangible things are they going to ask him that they expect a response on?
See, there's where one of the fellas on our bus on the committee says, "Where's the statement? Where's the statement?" And I was like, "But we've got to play it clever when you're demanding statements because you can't just. I mean, see if you go into the weeds and go, oh, this agreement all years ago and all that, and see if you kind of go into the mud and kind of. But we've got to be united on what statements we are wanting from Celtic.
Exactly.
I mean, the fact that we appointed Tisdale and we have had no correspondence from that guy. I mean, what's that? Well, tell me what that's about. That's mental. But as soon as you kind of start going, well, we should demand this and we should demand this and we should demand that, it all gets lost in the shouting and they go, I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in.
Yeah. So there is some, like, you can ask about the fan survey that was about a year old.
Yeah.
So there are some tangible things that you can ask about, right? That are black 100%. And white. Yeah. And it's things like that. You've got to try and tease around them to get something to demonstrate what a fuck up they are. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, part of the conversation has to also be, where the fuck have you been? Like Marty said last week, where have you been? Why are we so in the dark in terms
Marty,
of how the club is being run?
Marty, can you get back on now?
Marty was on twice there for a second.
No, I know. I think
he's on with one of them. But, you know, like, what about the fans? So, you know, why does a football club of Celtic's stature, why do we want to have £77 million in the bank for? You know, Peter Lowell already come out. Did he not apologise last year for the amount of money that we had banked away? Right?
I mean,
12 months ago.
Marty's brought up the corporate tax we're going to pay. He brought it up last week. I think he's brought it up numerous times, and it seems to be it's going to be getting into the tens of millions.
I think there's a bit of misunderstanding. Just to be clear, you get taxed on your profits every year, right? You don't get taxed on the money that's in the bank, right? So if Celtic make 50 million profit last year, it was 20% when I was doing stuff like that. I don't know what it is now, probably 25%. But you get taxed on that once for corporation tax. You don't get taxed on it as it's sitting in the bank account. But the point still being, if you know you're going to make £30 million worth of profit, you could decide, well, I don't really want to pay 7.5 million of that in corporation tax. So I'd rather spend 15 to save 5 tax, but that 15 is an investment if you spend it in the right way.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So
I mean,
it's a balancing act of that.
that's what Marty was saying, explained to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's. I don't know.
You've just explained a financial perpetual motion to the Celtic fucking board, Liam, because apparently they don't get that. I mean,
But again, Joe, like compared to any other organisation, it's not peaks and troughs. It's not like fucking trying to drive and find customers. It's not like trying to break down markets, right? Fucking, and we talk about this when we talk about food at Celtic. You know, like food and tickets, away tickets. You know who you're playing, right? You get a fixture list at the start of the season. You know allocations. You know fucking how many fans turn up at home games, and you still can't get any of that stuff right. Do you know what I mean? Any of that basic stuff right? Right, you're not outside the high street trying to drag customers into your shop to make some money because you know, suddenly no one's interested in you. You've got a captive audience on your doorstep permanently who just want to hand you money.
Yeah.
yeah.
But you just want to be treated correctly, and I don't think
Exactly.
like I fear we are kind of just going all ground, and
We are 100%.
But if we kind of keep our eyes on the statement that's coming out and where it's going to kind of go for them, because it does lead into the whole Celtic Trust thing. We've heard a wee bit of information tonight that a couple of or a group are trying to kind of mug them. And obviously we're hearing from one side, but there seems to be a kind of mugging trying to go on at the AGM on Tuesday night. I'm sure that will come out in the wash. But as I say, if you're looking for statements after yourself, thanks for that, mate.
Sorry.
If you're looking for statements to come out and then you've got somebody rattling on about the 5-way agreement again, it's not going to go anywhere. That's a fact.
No.
Fact of the matter. There is some things that should be put to the side, and as soon as you say that, you'll lose a percentage. I mean, you two guys are on the huddle board. You've looked at the statement thread, and straight away you've got guys going, "Oh, this is a shambles. This is a shambles. That's a lot of crap." I've saw people, and then. So there was a fella of mine, the last time the Celtic Trust were asked to step up because things were going tits up. And I think the Celtic end thing was brought up. Remember, there was a group.
Yeah.
There was a hopeful group started. A friend of mine, right, and he's a very clever man. He went to the meeting, and the diatribe of insults he says to me about them all the next day was, I mean, I actually think he emailed Jason and gave Jason dog abuse as well. And this pal of mine, and he's no a dafty, but because they said a couple of things that he didn't agree with, that was it. There didn't seem to be, and that seems to be the way of the world now. And getting Celtic fans as one unit now, one almighty task.
Yeah, impossible, Scott. I mean, it's really impossible.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, you must be involved in running your bus to some degree, right? You know, not maybe not the whole thing, but to some degree. I mean, how hard is it for you guys to agree on stuff and work stuff out in a smaller group? And you're all mainly pals, I take it.
See, in fairness, mate, it's just there is an element of get on and kind of seed your anger, and I do that quite a lot when it comes to board things, but I might not necessarily think it's the best way to go, but if I agree that's what should be done, then I support that. You know what I mean? And I don't think that certainly in today's world, Joe, you would know better than me, in today's world there isn't that. There is, if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. And there's no, do you know what I mean? I'll give you an example.
Compromise is a rare, rare thing.
Yeah.
But there are ways. But there are ways to get it. There are ways to get it. And in my opinion, in my experience, it's all about approach. It's how you approach people. It's how you approach the idea. Like, there's a thing I work on work, right? And it's with a large national mental health organization, right? and they work on a model called co-production, right? Which is really good because basically what it is, it's like we need people from all different backgrounds and all different parts of society. Doesn't matter, socioeconomic, whatever, all at the same table talking about this one particular project. But everybody's voice is equal, right? Chairman, treasurer, the fucking CEO, the fucking president of this, everybody's voice is equal. It's co-production. Therefore, the idea is the focus. I mean, the progress of the idea is the focus, not somebody's opinion, not somebody's ego, not somebody's, all that just gets put to the side, right? And I love working like that because shit gets done and everybody's focused on a goal rather than their own opinion or their own perspective or their own, fucking, I feel like I need to be in charge, I need to control this. I mean, I see if you could, see when you work with people, right? And a person can throw an idea out. And that person can then look at that idea objectively and go, you know what? That's a shit idea. Let's fucking bin that, which I can do a lot. Right? I can throw an idea and go, you know what? That's bullshit. You hear me on this podcast. I thought it's some bullshit, but I'm able to fucking roll it back and go, like, that is fucking stupid. Right? Because you need to be self-aware. There are people, lots of people, that get into these positions in some level of influence, some level of power, right? And they feel that if they don't use that, they're not doing their job. And therefore, their opinions and their ego become what they do as their job. Right, and that's the forward momentum of their agenda and what they think is right is how they work and live through life, right? But that's a very narrow way to approach anything that you're trying to get done with other fucking people. I mean, some people look at compromise as a weakness. It's not a weakness. It's a fucking skill.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but I'm just I don't know. I'm kind of broken, to be honest. I mean,
do you know what, Scott? Our expectations are modest enough, I think, in the world, in the parlance of fucking world football, the way it is. Our expectations are modest enough when it comes to what we expect the club to do in terms of pushing that even one half step further. I mean, just fucking showing some level of like we're trying to elevate, trying to enhance, right? Our expectations are modest. We're not looking to be world beaters. We're not looking for fucking the best player in the world to come in the fucking door, right? The fact that they can't even match those modest expectations with the resources they have is a fucking joke.
It's so. Like I say, I don't really want to go on about the whole stadium thing again, right? Because ultimately the stadium isn't the problem. The stadium becomes a problem when you're looking for problems. The stadium, I mean, I think it's embarrassing that Celtic have got that pole either side of this in this day and age. That pole's there. Somebody posted up their season ticket for the North Stand, and he was behind a big pole and stuff like that, and I'm kind of going. And then we daft things like the juice machines don't work for 2 years. 2 years. Where's your pride? Where's the building manager? I mean, where's the building manager to kind of walk round?
Chief of operations, some fucker in charge.
They walk round and I mean, I wonder. I take my German pals to Celtic Park and stuff like that, and I do wonder when maybe Jason doesn't afford us one of his season tickets in a fancy seat, that he comes up and looks about and goes, "This is shit." I mean, this is pure shit. And I don't know. Like I say, it's easy to find problems when everything's shit, but they've no pride in what they're doing. They've no pride in our club. They talk the talk, and as everybody rightly says, go and look at the bits they sit. The fucking juice machine works there. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Marty boy, we got you.
Dude, where's my rant?
Fucking the air's blue in this house. There's fucking phone and fucking StreamYard and whatever else. So sorry, if I go off again, you'll know the crack. So look, I'm listening in. I had you on YouTube, so I was listening to what you were saying. What you were all saying. So look, here's the fucking news, right? It's now gone beyond the pitch and the fucking juice machines and the fucking
Yeah,
restricted view. A killer for me this year was taking the season tickets when we're sitting on a fortune. And it's like I struggle to go to games. Right? I'm not rich. I am wealthy. Sorry, I'm rich, but I'm not wealthy. Right? So I pick my games very carefully. And as you all know, I've been trying to get a squad over for about a month. And the Europa League has fucked that, right? Royally. So I'm now on the plan B. So I am in the uncomfortable position where I have to pick and choose what games I go to because I am not in a fortunate position where I could go every week, which is exactly what I would like to do, as you fucking know. And taking the season tickets, I'm not a season ticket holder. It doesn't affect me, but it causes fucking rage inside me because I know the sacrifices that people make to go and watch Celtic. The amount of money, like Higgins was on the other week telling us about what he was fucking spending, and I'm like, what the fuck? And the fucking cunt will pay it. It does not matter how much they put it up. Higgins will pay the dough to go, and the cunts know this, and that's what fucking wrecks me. At a time when we will be paying as much corporation tax as would pay for Adam Ida to be signed again tomorrow. It just sickens my fucking balls. It
Bring him home.
it totally sickens me, right? And I don't want to have a season ticket. I never did. I never needed a season ticket. And people might look down on me because I'm not a season ticket holder. I couldn't give a fucking hairy fuck. I have been travelling with Celtic supporters clubs from I was a child, and Celtic supporters clubs I will travel with. No matter if they're in Ireland or if they're in Scotland, the Scot knows if I'm going to a match in Scotland, I will be on the Vogue bus. If I'm going generally from Belfast, I will be going on a supporters club of which I have travelled on basically them all at some stage. I will always try and support the clubs, always trying to fill a bus where I can and take a squad over. And that's my plan now. And to see these people just say, well, we're just going to have to put the prices up, lads, at a time when we could conceivably have £100 million in the bank is fucking absolutely sickening. Now, you can argue the toss. I have no problem with it. Everything has gone up in price. Everything has costs for everything. Rent rates, electric, fucking bodies has gone through. Labour is through the roof. I totally understand that. But do you see if we weren't in the Champions League and we weren't bringing in and we weren't selling players for fortunes, I would understand. But we are absolutely sitting pretty and nobody gives a fuck. And there's not enough, there's not a strong enough fans' body or voice to say, whoa, see if you do that, we're fucking, as Scott says, we're cancelling this because there's no coordination. There's no strategy to say that, and it's because the supporters are so divided. Now, Scott has just mentioned the thread on the huddle board, which I have been on the night, listening to people whinging their petty moans about this and that and the other. And I'm saying to them, shut the fuck up. This is bigger than whatever the fuck problem you have. At a time when people are actually trying to take steps to bring the fucking fans together in some way. And Scott and me, and it might have been offline or it was online, or it might have been on the show. But I remember this time last year, maybe or slightly sooner, we were talking about the Celtic Trust when nobody fucking else was. And Scott's point was nobody gives two fucks about the Celtic Trust until things go wrong. And then everybody's going, where's the Celtic Trust? Do you know what I mean? When I actually, in actual fact, our fans need to start being strategic and saying these are the bodies that we need. We need there's room for a Celtic Supporters Association, absolutely. There's room for an affiliation. I've never ever been able to work out what the fucking difference is. God bless them. There's room for an Irish association in Ireland, obviously. Donegal, big-eared cunts wanted their own association. Knock yourselves out. Ones up in the north didn't want to affiliate the whatever, some groups or some CSEs aren't involved. I don't care. Can we get a fucking body that could possibly bring all these fucking fans together, and you put your petty shit aside for a half an hour until we pick like two things that we can fucking agree on. And I don't know, it was offline or obviously, so I don't know if you spoke about the statement already, or is this new ground, or what? Am I repeating this?
We did. We touched on it already.
Right.
But
So
carry on,
people
Marty,
are,
carry on.
people are already picking that apart and saying, I don't think they should have put that on it. I don't think they should have put this on it. And to be honest, I think some of those criticisms are valid. And I think the people who put the statement together maybe should reflect on that. Far be it for me to tell them what to fucking do. Far be it. I'm not telling you what to do, but I think you should maybe reflect on it. And everybody thinks that they're in the vanguard and that they're leading and they're doing this, and that, and the other thing. When actually, what actually needs to happen is everybody needs to step back. And the point I made on the huddle board also is there's people who say that fucking statement who have an absolute metal neck, who I'm looking going, what the fuck are they doing saying a statement like this after what they've said or what they've done? And my point is, now is not the time to say that. It's not the time for me to have my grapes and my moans about people who I fucking disagree with because I know what they've done. Now's the time where everybody goes, listen, whatever the fuck is happening at the minute is not working. The club don't speak to anybody and they don't give a fuck. They don't care about Scott and his fucking trying to get juice for his chair out of a machine. They don't fucking care. We said last week, I wonder when the last time anybody from the board was in any part of the ground apart from the main stand and maybe the number 7 or the carry deal or the fucking, like a corporate box somewhere maybe. Like when? Probably never. There's definitely members on our board who I know have never, ever been in a different part of the ground to see what the visitor experience is like, to see what the home fan experience is like, to talk to people. They don't give a fuck. They do not. It's just not in them. Do you know what I mean? So the challenge for me is our fans need to coalesce around something. I don't know what. And there's been so much bullshit talk before that as soon as fan unity is mentioned, you can actually fucking see the fucking shutters coming down and people don't go near me about fan unity. I don't want to know about it. And it's so something needs to happen. I don't know fucking what, and I don't know who is the right person to lead it. I don't know. And it's not like we're sitting where the Huns are sitting, where they have been fucking rid from pillar to post for the last nearly we're going on heading in towards the second decade, the third decade of it. We are actually sitting in a position of strength. And I've said it from last year. We will not do anything with that strength. We will fuck it up because that is the history of Celtic. And it's happened again. Now, why that's happened is for other people to debate and argue because I don't fucking know. I'm not working for Celtic. I don't know. But it's not working. So it's like, what the fuck are you going to do about it? It's not working. It's not right. And we're kind of cursed with a big fan base. Do you know what I mean? It's a big fan base. It has a worldwide diaspora. And people in Sakhalin or in San Francisco or in fucking Buenos Aires have as much fucking right to talk about Celtic the way I do as I do, or any season ticket holder or any shareholder. I'm a shareholder. It gives me no more fucking credence than the wee guy who me and Scott meet in a bar down the road when we're in Belfast who never misses a game on TV because he can't afford to travel. My voice is no stronger than his because I happen to own shares in a company. So it's like, what the fuck do you do? Do you know? And if people could pick a couple of small wins and say, listen, just focus on these bits here and sort them fucking out, and then we'll move on to the next bit. And like 10 years ago, we released plans for hotels, for cafes, and for fucking museums, and fuck all has happened. And it fucking wrecks me because I would stay in the hotel and I would contribute to the museum. I spoke to people at Celtic at the time saying, we're ready to go when you are. You let us know what you need. And in fairness to them, they were going, hold your horses. There's no chance of this happening imminently. And we're a decade away from it. That's the sort of shit that fucks me off. But here's the raise in your season book. Get the fuck. And the communications aspect of it is key. and see a lot of the anger among the support, it can actually be fucking solved by dialogue. And we've praised the club, haven't we? Like when the club have done things good by us, we've said, listen, we don't want what you're selling, but we appreciate it being fucking asked. Thank you. You know, when they brought us in and they offered us seats at the table when we were doing fucking press conferences and all, listen, that's not really our gig, but we actually do appreciate the fact that you just reached out to us and tried to include us. Like, it's not rocket science, and sometimes it's the simple things that make a fucking difference. We have never, ever changed what we've said on air based on the fact a nice person at Celtic offered us the opportunity to come and sit in a nice warm room and talk to somebody. Never once we've been as vociferous as we've always been. We've never been punished for it. They've never emailed us and said, oh, we heard what Jason fucking said about this 3 weeks ago. You aren't allowed back. You know what I mean? So I think there's an understanding now the fans are allowed their voice. And in the
Well,
modern era, fan voices are it. Like, you go
just
on the...
on that, Marty, they never came. Like it was never reciprocal, though. Do you remember? I don't know if you recall this. The time when we sent them the data about the Liam Scales speaking Irish clip that we had. Remember you went on for
Yes.
the
Yeah.
for the Zoom interview, and we sent them the data. The data was fucking massive on that tweet, right?
It was 1 million views or something like it.
It was fucking. It was the biggest thing we'd ever done, right? And we sent it off to them, and next thing you know, Liam Scales is fucking speaking Irish on Paddy's Day, right?
But that's fine.
They never came back and were like, it was very kind email going, I just want to share this data with this. This is really well, just an idea.
Listen, but I really have no issue with that. That's not that. So what? Do you know what I mean? It's no big deal. It's great for Irish speakers and stuff like that too. And thank God we have an Irish speaker in the club and who could do that. Maybe next year Liam Skills will be sold and there's nobody. So I have no real fucking issue with that, Joe, to be honest. It's like, and the guy, Kevin, who does the social media, is a very nice guy. I've spoken to him. I would never want to name drop for this show. I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but I've spoken to Kevin on a couple of things, and he has been more than helpful, and he's very under-resourced. They have a very fucking small team. We always do things on a shoestring, and we never really...
Sorry to interrupt.
Say that, Scott?
What was
Say it again.
Kevin's name?
He runs the social media, or he runs the digital, Celtic digital stuff. Real nice guy. Like, genuinely decent man. And like, I was talking about different stuff, so I'm not really breaching any confidences here, and I'm sure he wouldn't give a fuck if I mentioned him anyway. But I found him responsive and listening to me. Yep, no problem. Let me sort that out, or whatever the fuck it was. And I just know that team is so under-resourced for what the modern football club needs. I could tell by what he was telling me. I was going, "If you not got this and you got that," and he was going, "Nope."
And it's a massively important part of promotion now.
But Brian Wilson on the fucking Celtic board doesn't know that, Joe. And Dermot Desmond certainly doesn't fucking know it. Do you know what I mean? These men are fucking beyond reality, in my opinion. Brian Wilson is known for writing an anti-SNP column in a fucking newspaper. For being a Labour MP, I'm not even sure if he's still an MP. From working in a fucking Harris tweed factory in some island somewhere in fucking Skye or Wisht or one of those islands in the Outer Hebrides, and writing books about Celtic. What the fuck does he know about me? Fuck all. And I'm not painting myself as some special Celtic fan. It's the opposite. I'm not the special Celtic fan. I'm just a fucking cunt who loves this club and who wants us to always be the best that we can be. And Scott's saying earlier on about the state of the fucking stadium. That's what wrecks my fucking head the most. Our fans deserve the best, most comfortable experience. We put out more money per capita and per fucking wage, I would argue, than any other club in Britain. Like any other club, it has a fucking ridiculously loyal fan base. Like, beyond belief. Like, I watch people and they'd be going, how the fuck can you afford to do this? Like, some of my mates have never had a holiday. They've never gone on holiday. From I knew them in the 90s. They've never took a fucking holiday. And I'm looking at them going, I fancy a holiday. No, sure. Friendlies will be on then, or qualifiers will be on. The fuck do I want to go on holiday for? I just want to go and watch Celtic. Like, these people exist. And there's fucking hundreds of them. I spoke last week about Brett Rogers talking about the 77-year-old in Kazakhstan. What the fuck? Surely the fuck a 77-year-old man, whether he loves Celtic or not, has better things to be fucking doing than going to almost into the Gobi Desert to watch fucking Celtic. That's what fucking wrecks me. Fucking hikes and season tickets when there's absolutely no need and you're not getting any better service for it is what fucking wrecks me. It just drives me nuts.
Well, here we are, late stage capitalism. Right?
That's exactly what it is, Joe. And in fairness to Celtic, we're in a capitalist system. We buy and sell players. Like, that's just what it is, right? We all know it. There's no point in fucking saying, oh, well, we're going to be like fucking pretend hipsters like St. Pauli. And it's just fucking lies. You know what I mean? Absolute nonsense. So we are where we are. And I totally accept that. See if Celtic come out to me and said, this year, this is the plan. We're not buying any players. We're going to promote from within, and we have 10 million in the bank, which we're solely going to spend on the stadium and upgrade whatever facilities in here need to be upgraded. And that's the way it's going to be this year. We'll go back to normal next year. I totally buy it. I'll be going, yep, you got my support. But hiking your season ticket and then telling you it's just like, what the fuck? And you can't even bring in a player.
Oh, it's the classic piss in your leg and tell you it's raining. You know what I mean? It's fucking like.
You would love to be a fly on the fucking wall of the room of a billionaire striking the pen under the season to put some poor bastard who is spending every fucking wingding he can to get to Celtic Park to put a 10% raise on the fucking price he has to pay to get there. Like, it just fucking drives me nuts. It's stuff like that drives me nuts. It's not really a shake performance at Ibrox.
But I mean,
they can happen.
The thought of people and the thought of fans is not what drives these people to do what they do.
No, it's not, Joe. But here's the thing: see the likes of the initiative that happened this week. I think it's a very welcome initiative. I think it's great. It's great. Any times our fans are together is a good thing. Like, no, whether you're at your supporters do, or on your bus, or me and fucking Scott, two of us getting legless somewhere, anywhere. When Celtic fans they come together, the fucking magic happens. We've all been there. We've all seen it. We've all experienced it. It's a lovely thing. So the more unity we have together, the better. We have great spokespersons. There was some of those Celtic supporters podcasts on. I'd actually never heard of them. Didn't know they existed. It's amazing. We must have more fan media than any other club. I was talking to that fucking balloon Kevin Moon the other day. Kevin Moon was telling me he has a fucking podcast. I had no idea.
Kevin Moon has a podcast?
Kevin Moon has a podcast on YouTube.
Surely.
And I was like, when did this fucking start? I'm going to find this fucking thing, right? So
I knew that.
Well, I never knew it and Joe didn't know it, so there we go. You've got the likes of Davy McLaughlin. Peace be upon him, who we constantly fucking Davey knows what's coming here, doesn't he? Like, he knows what's coming.
He called us in a few weeks ago, right? And he said that it was a podcast, give him a shout out and a positive review.
Fuck him.
And the response from our Twitter account was, I assume they've never gone out with you then.
but clubs would absolutely kill for a man like Davy McLaughlin to be standing on their steps. Like, we have such brilliant human capital. We have amazing people who love the club. And like they should be pushed to the fore. And you're talking to them, and I'm not talking about Davy here specifically, and I'm not talking about Kevin specifically either, but we've had people who work for Celtic. You know, there's people who are working for Celtic now at the minute whose names I've never mentioned that I've heard things about, and they're just going, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Do you know what I mean? And I've just gone, what the fuck? Like, how did they let that person leave? What? Why would they do that? You would go in and ensure that that person was, you know, they're passionate about the place. They want it to work. They're, you know, and they're just fucking hamstrung by old men who don't understand what they do. And they don't understand that the impact that they have outside the club. And you've got the likes of Jerry McCulloch and all, and you can say what you want about them, but they do their best. Like, they fucking genuinely do their best. And I'm reading them comments and all, they're putting stuff up the other night. And our fan base is just abusing them. You know, just fucking venting and slobbering and fucking, and I'm going, imagine being the social media officer having to read all that. You know, and we get it too, but we don't care. Like I think people have kind of worked out that the homeboys actually don't give a fuck what you think about us. So
there's also no backroom staff going like, oh, it's kind of shit's going to affect us. Going like, I don't give a fuck.
You know, we don't fucking genuinely don't care. But if you've been sitting all day and you've been working out a social media plan for something, a strip or a fucking thing, and you're really doing your best in your job, and all you see is abuse, 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 would you stay in that job?
Oh God, no.
I wouldn't stay in the fucking job.
I
So as far as
almost took a job one time as a fucking administrator for that kind of thing in a place called Data Miner, and they told me what the job was. I was like, you know what, that sounds like a load of fucking depressing shit. Fuck it. I mean, like literally reading shitty comments and fucking horrible videos and deleting them off the internet. I was like, fuck that job.
I was talking to someone who was at Abrax. This is harder to go, and this is the worst match I've ever been to. I think Scott. No, but they weren't talking about the football. They weren't talking about the football. They were saying I was in amongst 2,000 angry people, just screaming and shouting. He says I stood down in the concourse and I'm watching every cunt taking cocaine, and then I'm watching them come back up into the ground and just being angry bastards, screaming and fucking shouting. He says there's hardly a song sung. I think Scott mentioned earlier, I got cut off. He was saying he doesn't start songs, but he says there was no singing, there was no community, there was no us against them. He says I was just standing looking at every cunt fucking raging.
I've heard some stories about just fucking in passing some stories of like, you know, parents with kids and stuff like that at certain games being really fucking aggressive, just generally aggressive to other people. Like,
yeah, we've heard it. I know exactly what you're talking about, Joe, because I was talking about it not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, it's like when fucking them adverts come on the TV, when the fun stops. When the fun stops, stop. Why are you there if you're there to scream and be raging? What the fuck? And like we all laugh at the Huns every week. I sit here and watch the Hun matches, they hear them booing, boo, and hoping that wee Tom picks up some fucking mad Hun maniac screaming. But I remember one of them football bloggers was in Abrax. One of them English cunts, he was nothing to do with us. He just went for the day, for the experience, and he says, I have never ever been in such a mob of rage. He says, they were winning 3-1. He says, but all around me, everybody was screaming and fucking raging. And they were winning. And I'm looking going, well, is that what we're turning into? Do you know what I mean? And I'm looking at the songs we're singing. I was listening to Radio Scotland after the match, and you could hear, you know, after full time, you could hear singing and stuff like that. And like, I'm going, where's our songs? Do you know? And I'm like, and by our songs, I mean like Celtic songs. So I'm a Celtic fan. And like people want to sing Republican songs and stuff like that, and I'm going, that's no problem. So I'm a Republican. That don't be going there with me because I know the ball. But not everybody does. And me and Scott were at St. Johnson 2 years ago. And I said to Scott, there's a noticeable change in the crowd here when the singing starts. When the Green Brigade are singing Celtic songs, Eddie Cunt joins in. When they're singing Republican songs, they don't. Now, I'm not telling the Green Brigade what to sing. You sing whatever the fuck you want. But people should be conscious of that. And I've taught my wee lad all the Celtic songs. And when he goes to Celtic Park, he fucking doesn't hear them. And last year when I was at Celtic Park with him, Celtic, that's the team for me, came on the tannoy. And my wee lad launched into it. And everybody over in the Tom Williams corner, it was about 50 people, all turned around, looked at him and started fucking clapping and cheering because he knew every word. And I'm going, we need to kind of get back to something here because we're fucking losing it. If people are coming to games fucking raging and screaming and shouting, it's fucking nuts. You should be there to be passionate about your team. And as I say, I don't get over as often as I fucking like, but I love it when I go to Celtic Park or an away game. It's where I want to be. And I can't understand why people be fucking mental about it. I be going, are you enjoying yourself? Because if you're not, you shouldn't be here. What the fuck are you come here for? If you don't enjoy it, win, lose or draw. Like we've seen. One of my mates said to me last week, this is the worst Celtic team I've ever seen in my life. Cunt's 50. And he said that to me. And you know what I done? Went on to the Celtic Wiki and picked out a team from October 1995. We got beat 1-0 by Hearts. And I sent them the team. And I went, stop fucking lying. Look at that team. And it was abysmal. It was fucking. I'll actually send you it. I'll send you it on the fucking thing. And I went, look at that team. Don't talk shit. This is not the worst team you've ever seen in your life. This isn't even the fucking worst team you've seen in the last maybe 5, 6 years. We fucking lost the league not that long ago with a team worse than this one. And I'm not saying this team are great, that they're going to do this. I'm not saying the manager's great. The manager's fucking like any other human. He'll make mistakes. He'll not get everything fucking right. And he, whatever. That's life. But I don't know what the fuck's going on with us as a group of people. And our mates talk about, like, I started travelling in the middle of bad days. And there was definitely an esprit de corps. Nobody gave a fuck. We were fucking shit, and there was no way out of it. At that time, you were like, we are fucked. And like, the week we were buying bulbs for the fucking floodlights from Hamden and all, and you were just like, and I think readers were saying in Basil Bully or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were times when we were fucked beyond belief. And I never ever want to go back to those days. I always want the best for us. Do you know what I mean? And I'm looking at going with £100 million in the bank. Do you see if you can't fucking buy any players? See if you can't. And here, by the way, see it in the aftermatch. I rarely watch the talking heads on TV. See Chris Boyd? No, I don't watch him. Never see half time. When half time comes to the match, I go and make my tea or grab an beer. I never ever listen to any of that shit because I've no respect for the people who are talking. I'm listening to James McFadden, who's a dreary cunt, who's never played for Celtic or Rangers, played for Motherwell, played in Everton or somewhere like that. This guy knows nothing about us. He may say he's a Celtic fan, I don't care. I'm looking at going, you're a dreary cunt, I've no interest in anything you have to say. You never played for us anyway. What the fuck do you want? Why are you on my TV? But I listened to Neil Lennon clamping fucking Chris Sutton the other day, and I actually agreed with Neil Lennon. And Neil Lennon had said stuff that I'd said on the podcast. That you're paying a Scottish premium to get mediocre players to come to Glasgow. And Chris Sutton was trying to be fucking smart about it. And Lennon clamped him. Says, many players have you bought, Chris? Chris Sutton hasn't bought any fucking players. And then Sutton sort of caught himself on. I don't know whether or not you saw it, because Scott, you may have been at the match. And Sutton sort of caught himself on, and he made a joke about when I was at Lincoln, and it was all funny. But I was going, but Neil Lennon was actually right there, and he has been in this position twice, whether you like it or not. He's been our manager fucking twice, so he knows what he's talking about. You know, and I'm just looking at us going, I don't really care about the result on Sunday. My wee lad's 9. What the fuck club have we got with my wee lad's 9 team when I start paying for his season ticket? Which is what I'll do. You know what? When he's
Marty,
19.
I didn't agree with what Lennon was saying. I'll be the opposite of that. I thought he was giving the board a bit of a pass on that one.
Most people did. In fact, some people said it was his audition to try and get the job again.
Whether it's that or not, but I just thought he'd give him a bit of a pass there. We've proven that we can get the right players to Glasgow, to the club. So I don't know. I wouldn't have agreed with what he said.
That's fair enough. Do you know what I mean? That's not. That's my interpretation of it anyway. I was going. Yeah. I've said that on the huddle board, or I've said it on the Homeboys. I've said that out loud. So he's not saying anything I haven't fucking said. You know, and coming to the end of the transfer window, I said it last week. Brian was brilliant, wasn't he? What a great guest.
He was good.
He's absolutely fucking
fantastic.
He just has that professional eyes. You know what I mean? He just cuts through the bullshit. But no, this is actually what happens. You know, great to have someone like that aboard, because I know fuck all, and I'm happy to tell people that I don't know. But when we were talking about it last week, and we were talking about this time of the transfer window, it's genuinely the worst time of the year to bring in a fucking player. Now there's Iheanacho coming in, and he looks to me a stone overweight. I showed you that fucking video of him playing for Middlesbrough, but he could still end up being a decent player for us because he's young. He's only 28. He's not 38.
Yeah. That's the saving grace. His age, isn't it? Really.
Exactly. And the other saving grace is Rodgers knows him, and he actually played his best football under Rodgers. So cunts are going and saying, I'm going, look, I know he's not who we wanted, but let's not throw the fucking child out with the bathwater here. Let's see what he's like. You know, give him 3 months to get him. I said, it was me who said it. He's going to need 3 months. You won't see him to November. You know, which was the same when Olivier Capo come in and fucking Freddie Lundberg come in and players like that who we were getting as free agents. You know, you didn't see them until whatever. That didn't work out. And this cut might not work out, but you have to give him a fucking chance.
I know, but the trouble is, Marty, it's everything wrapped around it, isn't it? You know, we've ended up now, we've got 5 strikers now for one position. Do you know what I mean? And like, fucking, you wouldn't hang your hat on any of them. But by doing our business so poorly, Osman's there, who should be on loan somewhere. Kenny absolutely should be on loan at a Scottish club this season to see what he can do. And now we've got 5 strikers where Shin's not even in the fucking European squad. You know, it's just a fucking mess.
Seeing the argument I had with a mate, he was telling me it was the worst ever fucking squad he'd ever seen. I actually said to him, well, I remember the year we started with Craig Beattie and Sean Maloney. And them 2 cunts actually got us through the first 5 months of that season. They were fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going to happen. This could end up being a blessing for us.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how good they are. We've got 5 strikers now.
Listen, I know. I fucking know.
We play one up front.
And that's a complete
waste of.
Totally, and Shin didn't even make
Exactly. That's what I just said there. Yeah.
So it's like paint by numbers. They're just pulling in players to fill bodies. It's like what they call in the NFL. In the American football, they call it camp bodies. You get a couple of camp bodies and to fill out the pad out your squad, and that's what this feels like. It doesn't feel like anybody's coming in to take the place. But I'm looking at a player like Arne Engels, right? He came in last year at this time. And what I was told was Arne Engels' agent wanted to see the Champions League draw before he would stay. So he wanted to see who we were playing in the Champions League before he actually said yes. And Rodgers was actually saying, this guy doesn't play twice a week. I'm going to have to take my time to build him up here to play the level of football we play. Now, I'm not in a position to make that call. I'm certainly not in a position to criticise anybody for it. You know, I don't see these fuckers until they turn up on a Saturday at 8 o'clock. But all that stuff was on the background. Like, Yang's fucking missus turning up and all of a sudden he starts scoring fucking goals. Petrov fucking working in a burger van to try and get himself by. Brian spoke about that last week. I thought that was brilliant. What he said last week was, I just said, that's exactly what I think. And he's going, yes, you're right. You know, the people are coming here that don't know where they're going to live. I gave the example of, I don't know where you heard it. I give the example of the guy who played ice hockey. Saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
All that shit goes on. These fucking people are human. They're not robots. They're not fucking, you know. And what the club does for them or the liaison that they have, I have no idea. I don't know. You know, I don't know how they settle in or, you know, Ian Nacho's coming over here and he's going to be in a hotel for fucking 6 months or something and he knows it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not ideal. And I know professional footballers, you all probably do in your own lives, people who play professionally, it's a lonely fucking sport. You know, and so the more we can do as a club, the more and I mean this as fans too, like the more we're together on stuff, the better it's going to be. See, I always say the Homeboys has a reputation that we're fucking nuts and we shout the odds, but it's wrong. It's not right. I always think we're very fair on people. We never really lay the boot into anybody. We always sort of try and look behind whatever is going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I have my rants. Jason has his rants. Scott has his rants. Joe has his. Harbour has his. But we're actually quite fair on everybody. I think. I don't.
We're very good at devil's advocate. We're very good at looking at something and going, "This is fucking shit." But let's look at it this way.
I think so, right? And I think that's our shtick. I don't think we're known for that, but I think that's what happens, right? So I'm always willing to fucking give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But as I said to Brian last week, that's not what I'm up to. I am looking for fucking trends. I'm looking for, are we going in the right direction? You cannot look at Celtic Football Club over the last 10 years and go, do you know what a fucking club that is. Like, it's just not. We need new blood. We need new ideas. We need old ideas dusted down, like the fucking museum, to showcase somebody like Davy McLaughlin. Right? Give him his thing and let him. Like, I could see that being like Glasgow's #1 tourist destinations because of Davy. Because you've got brilliant human capital and he just needs the tools to do his fucking job. It's shit like that I'm talking about. And in any season, Celtic can be shite on the pitch. In any season. Nobody predicted what happened to COVID season. We finished that last season before that and we thought we were going to come fucking flying back. And it all went the fuck. Nobody could have predicted what happened with Ronnie Taylor. Nobody could have predicted what happened with Ange Postecoglou. He was a fucking complete unknown. So you had varying levels of success across all those seasons. You can't prepare for that. That's life. But the basic, see this world-class basic shit, we should be the top of the fucking league at that stuff. All the outside stuff, all the fan experience stuff, our fans deserve the best. Somebody said in the huddle board today, you can hardly fucking take a piss at Celtic Park, depending on what time you turn up. And I've been turning up to Celtic Park from, there was nowhere to turn up to. We used to park in Nuneaton Street and get out and piss. Where's our cafe? Where's our fucking bars? Where's our hotel? Where's our museum? Where's our showing off our
Marty,
club?
Marty, even some fucking Portaloos would be grand.
You know, listen, I've had this argument. I've stopped arguing about this stuff because we just know it's not happening. Do you know, there's no point.
Yeah, right.
I really
I'm
is.
done.
So when I'm
Right.
taking my wee lad over here in a few weeks, right? Well, I plan to. And we're going to arrive at Celtic Park. And the first thing I'm going to do with him is put him in a fucking taxi and take him half a mile away to do something. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm taking him to flip out for a couple of hours to knock him fucking self out and flip out with his wee mates. That's my plan. What the fuck? Why? I should be taking him into the hotel for his dinner, then into the fucking museum to tell him how proud I am with Charlie Tully and the connections to Belfast and all that, whatever the fuck can make my child want to love my club. That's what I should be doing. Instead, I'm taking him to a trampoline park down beside the Clyde fucking gateway.
That is a good way to close off this podcast because we're going to
Marty,
fuck.
We can bounce off, Joe, now.
Fuck that.
What's got some?
Yeah, you got it. Just about got it. Scott, go on before we go.
fuck that, man. Honestly, it's just. I don't think we sorted anything there. It's just
No, we didn't sort anything, but we did.
We never even
Yeah.
got to Rogers.
Well, that's coming.
That's
That's
Jason.
that's
No, we're
part
waiting.
two.
We're
That's
waiting.
part two.
No, that's Jason. We're waiting on him coming back. He wants
Yes, we
to
need Jason
dominate
for
that
that.
town square. Let's now wait for a pace. Stay
I'm-
on after.
But I'm
We're done. We're done.
folks.
Right.
That was good crack. Scott, do you want to
Nope.
hang up there? No.
Nope.
Marty kind of left us a wee bit of hope at the end there, didn't he? That was good.
He done well, didn't he? Considering he couldn't go on all day, so he made up for it right at the end.
He was doing a hokey cokey podcast appearance. He was in, he was out, he was shaking all about. He was all over the place.
I was hoping someone would switch his VPN back on and get him to fuck there. That wasn't happening. All right, brothers, that was good.
Folks, that was fun. Talk to you next week when J-Bo's back, and then we'll get a proper rant going.
Take it easy.
Hell.
Fuck that.